Video 2. So, the Synod at Whitby is a turning point in British history. Can you turn the fan on 1, 2 while you're up, please? Thank you. It determines the future fate of which type of Christianity the English are going to accept. They choose Roman Catholicism over Celtic Christianity, and the monastic Celtic Christians sort of languish in Ireland for a while until Catholic missionaries eventually come there. The Anglo-Saxons become Roman Catholic Christians. So that's important. Now, we've talked about Alfred the Great keeping Wessex alive, and Wessex ultimately becoming the Kingdom of England. But for a while, as England was absorbing the Danes, a Danish ruler named Canute became King of England and Denmark at the same time. Canute was king on both sides of the North Sea, in England, and that little spike that comes out over this area of Europe up here in Denmark. So on both sides of the North Sea. This is unusual. It's actually unique. Canute's the only ruler that does this. But there's a famous story about Canute, how his courtiers were saying that he was the most powerful king ever. And as such, we're so awed by your power and so lucky to be working with you, O powerful King Canute. To which he gave him sort of a sly look and said, really? Let's talk about royal power. Get my throne. We're going on a field trip. So the king and his court go to the beach. And at low tide, which is where the tide is farthest out and the beach is biggest and longest, the king says, place my throne right there next to the water. And the throne is placed there right next to the water. And the king sits down on it and says very, very, very strongly and sternly, tide, I forbid you to come in. I am giving you a royal order. Stay out, tide. So he's trying to stop the tide. He rebukes the sea. 15 minutes later, the bottom of his throne is wet. A half hour later, his toes and ankles are wet. 45 minutes later, his calves are wet. You get the story. The sea does not respect his authority. The sea does not seem to be impressed by his royal power, any more, frankly, than the English Channel was when Caligula waged war against the sea back in Roman times. You may remember that. He attacked the sea with several Roman legions, and they brought seashells back as a demonstration of their conquest of Neptune's realm. So they got his throne out of the water and cleaned it up, and he went back, and basically his point was, don't try to flatter me. Really, I'm a king, but I'm not stupid. If you have something you want to ask me, be straight about it. Don't play head games with me. It's not going to work. Anyway, Canute dies. And England is about to go through a massive change. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a brief look at England through a relic called the Julius work calendar from 1,000 years ago, from the year 1000 AD. Yeah, 1,000 years ago. So guess what? We're going to stop the video again. There'll be a part 3. By the way, this is part 3. So those people who follow Jeopardy scandals, this is not a gesture as anything other than 3. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. That means you've got better things to do. See you in a moment.